Amara sat quietly in the wooden chair of the courtroom. Her eyes were steady and calm. She was only 16 years old, but her mind was sharp like a blade. Around her, the room was filled with people talking softly. The judge, a tall man with gray hair, looked down at her with a cold smile. "Young lady," the judge said, his voice loud enough for everyone to hear. "Do you know why you are here?" Amara nodded. "Good. Then maybe you can explain to us why you broke the rules." Amara did not answer right away. She knew the rules of the courtroom. She knew that sometimes silence could speak louder than words. The judge's eyes narrowed. He leaned forward and said, "You think you are smarter than everyone here, do you?" The courtroom was silent. People whispered to each other. Some looked surprised. Others seemed to expect this kind of behavior from the judge. Amara's lips stayed closed, but inside, she was calm and focused. She had a plan. The judge continued, "You are just a young girl from a poor neighborhood. What do you know about the law or respect? This court is not a place for children to play." A few people in the courtroom gasped. Amara's heart did not race. Instead, she took a deep breath. She looked the judge straight in the eyes. "Your Honor," she said clearly, "I may be young, but I know the law better than many people in this room." The judge laughed softly. "Is that so? Then tell us. What law did I break?" Amara stood up slowly. Her voice was strong and steady. "I have not broken any law, Your Honor. But I believe some people in this courtroom do not follow the law fairly." The judge's face changed. He was surprised but tried not to show it. "Careful, young lady. You may want to watch your words." Amara nodded. "I will, Your Honor. But I will also speak the truth." The courtroom grew tense. The judge looked around at the people in the room. "You expect me to take a lesson from a teenager? This is the real world, not a school classroom." Amara smiled softly. "Sometimes the real world needs new lessons." Suddenly, the judge banged his gavel loudly. "Enough! This court will continue the hearing." The lawyer for the state stood up. She was a tall woman with a kind face. "Your Honor, this is a case about a minor rule broken by this young lady. We ask that she be punished fairly." Amara's eyes did not leave the judge. She was ready for what was coming next. The court clerk called the witnesses. One by one, people spoke about the event that brought Amara to court. It was a small thing, a misunderstanding with a neighbor. But the way the judge treated Amara made the situation feel much bigger. When it was Amara's turn, she spoke with respect. "I only tried to help. I did not want any trouble. I believe everyone should be treated with fairness and respect." Some people in the courtroom nodded. They could see that Amara was honest. The judge looked frustrated. "You speak well for someone your age, but your words do not change the facts." Amara stayed calm. She knew the facts were on her side. After the hearing, Amara left the courtroom with her mother. Outside, the sun was warm, and birds sang softly in the trees. Amara's mother held her hand tightly. "You were brave today," she said quietly. Amara smiled. "Thank you, Mama. But this is only the beginning." Her mother looked surprised. "What do you mean?" Amara looked up at the sky. "I want to show everyone that young people like me can make a difference. I will work to change the system, one step at a time." Her mother nodded, proud but worried. "Be careful, Amara. Not everyone will understand you." Amara looked determined. "I am ready." That night, Amara sat at her small desk in her room. The walls were covered with books about law, justice, and history. She opened a thick book and began to read. Her mind raced with ideas about fairness and how to help people who are treated unfairly. Amara was not just a teenager in trouble. She was a warrior for justice. The judge's mocking words only made her stronger. She knew the road ahead would be difficult, but she was ready to fight with her mind and her heart. In the quiet of her room, Amara whispered to herself, "One day, they will see who I really am." Amara woke up early the next morning. The sun was just rising, painting the sky with soft pink and orange colors. She sat quietly at her desk. Around her were many books about law, history, and great leaders who changed the world. Amara loved to learn. But what made her different was not just her knowledge, it was her secret. No one outside her family knew that Amara was not just a teenager, she was also a brilliant attorney. From a very young age, she had studied the law. She learned from books, videos, and talking to lawyers. Her mind was sharp. She could understand things many adults could not. But Amara had to keep this a secret. The world was not ready to accept a young girl from her neighborhood as a true lawyer. If people knew who she really was, they might not listen. She chose to wear the disguise of a simple teenager. This way, she could watch and learn how the justice system worked from the inside. Her disguise was simple but effective. She wore plain clothes, avoided fancy hairstyles, and never spoke about her knowledge in public. Many people thought she was just a quiet girl who liked to read. They did not see the fierce spirit inside her. At school, Amara listened carefully in her classes but never raised her hand too often. She knew that some teachers and students had low expectations of her because of where she came from. This made her sad sometimes, but it also made her strong. Her best friend, Jamal, knew a little about her secret. He was the only one who saw Amara's true self. One afternoon after school, Jamal and Amara sat under a big tree in the park. Jamal asked, "Amara, why do you hide who you really are? You are so smart. You should tell everyone." Amara smiled. "It is not safe yet, Jamal. People have many ideas about who I am because of my age and where I live. If they know I am a lawyer, they might not believe me or take me seriously." Jamal shook his head. "But you could help so many people. Don't you want to show them?" Amara looked at the sky. "I do. That is why I must be careful. I want to fight for justice, but I need a plan. I can't do it if people only see me as a teenager." Jamal nodded slowly. "Okay, I trust you." Amara felt grateful. She knew she could count on Jamal. He was loyal and kind. That evening, Amara sat in her small room. Her mother brought her a cup of tea. "You are working very hard, my daughter," she said softly. "I am proud of you." Amara smiled. "Thank you, Mama. I want to make a difference. I want to help people who do not have a voice." Her mother touched her hand. "Be careful with your heart, Amara. The world can be hard." Amara nodded. She knew her mother was right. Days passed, and Amara continued to learn. She read court cases, legal papers, and stories about famous lawyers who fought for justice. She dreamed of the day when she could stand in a courtroom as a real attorney and speak for those who could not speak for themselves. One afternoon, Amara visited the local community center. There, she met Mr. Harris, an older man who had once been a judge. He now helped young people learn about the law. Amara admired him. She saw in him a chance to learn more. Mr. Harris looked at Amara carefully. "You have a bright mind," he said. "What do you want to do with your knowledge?" Amara took a deep breath. "I want to help people who are treated unfairly. I want to change the system that judges people by their skin color or where they come from." Mr. Harris smiled kindly. "That is a big dream, but dreams like that have changed the world before." Amara's eyes shone. "I am ready to work hard." Mr. Harris nodded. "Good. I will help you learn more about the court and the law." Amara felt hope rise inside her. She was not alone. That night, she returned home with a new feeling of purpose. She knew that to change the world, she needed allies and knowledge. She needed to be strong and brave. Her secret identity was not a burden anymore. It was her shield. It allowed her to move quietly in a world that was often unfair. Amara whispered to herself, "I will be ready for the day they cannot ignore me." Her phone beeped. It was a message from Jamal. "Keep fighting, Amara. I believe in you." She smiled and typed back, "Thank you. We will change the world together." As she closed her eyes that night, Amara dreamed of a future where justice was fair for everyone, where a young girl, no matter where she came from, could stand tall and speak the truth. The journey had just begun. Amara sat at the small table in her room. The soft light of a lamp lit the papers and books spread before her. She was not like other teenagers who spent their evenings watching shows or chatting with friends. Amara was busy making a plan to change the justice system that had treated her unfairly. She thought about the judge who mocked her in court. He did not see her as a person. He saw only a young girl from a poor neighborhood. That hurt Amara deeply, but it also made her stronger. She wanted to show the world that intelligence and fairness could come from anywhere. Amara had learned that the system was not perfect. Many people in power had old ideas. Some judges and lawyers were unfair. They did not always listen to the truth. They judged by appearances, not by facts. Amara wanted to change that. She picked up her phone and called Jamal. "I have an idea," she said quietly. "I want to take on a bigger case, a case that shows how the system is broken." Jamal was surprised. "Are you sure? That sounds dangerous." Amara smiled. "It is, but it is necessary. If we want justice, we have to fight for it." Jamal agreed. "Okay, I will help you." Together, they began to look for a case that showed real problems in the court. They talked to neighbors and friends. They listened to stories about people who felt treated unfairly. Soon, they found something. A local business owner named Mr. Reed was losing his store because of a court decision. Many people believed the judge was unfair. He had ignored important evidence. Amara felt this was the perfect case. It showed how the system could fail regular people. Amara decided to represent Mr. Reed, but she knew she could not do it alone. She needed help from people who understood the law and technology. She wanted to find allies who could support her. She reached out to Mr. Harris, the former judge from the community center. "I found a case that needs justice," she told him. "Will you help me?" Mr. Harris looked thoughtful. "This is a serious challenge, Amara, but I believe you have the courage. I will help you prepare." Amara also contacted a group of young tech experts who used computers to find hidden information. They were excited to help. They could search for evidence that the court had missed. Days turned into weeks as Amara worked hard. She studied the papers of Mr. Reed's case. She talked to witnesses and gathered proof. The more she learned, the more she understood how deep the problem was. The judge who handled Mr. Reed's case had a history of ignoring facts that did not fit his ideas. Amara knew that exposing this would not be easy. The judge was powerful and respected by many. Still, Amara did not lose hope. She believed in truth and fairness. She prepared carefully. Every fact she found, every detail she noted, became a weapon for her fight. Meanwhile, the judge who had mocked Amara remained unaware of her plan. He continued his work without knowing that this young girl was getting ready to challenge him and the system. Amara told Jamal, "We must be patient. Change takes time. But if we work together, we can make a difference." Jamal smiled. "I believe in you, Amara. You are strong." Amara felt a warm feeling inside. She was not alone. Her community, her friends, and her family stood with her. One evening, Amara sat by the window and looked at the stars. The sky was clear and bright. She thought about the future. "I will not stop," she whispered. "Not until justice is fair for all." Her heart was full of hope and determination. The journey ahead was long, but she was ready. Amara felt the weight of her mission growing heavier each day. She knew the path she had chosen was not easy. To fight for justice meant standing against many powerful people, but she also knew she was not alone. Around her, she found people who believed in fairness and wanted to help. One afternoon, Amara met with Mr. Harris at the community center. The room was quiet except for the soft ticking of a clock. Mr. Harris looked at her kindly. "Amara, you cannot win this fight alone." "You need allies," Amara nodded. "I know. I have found some friends who want to help, but we need more support." Mr. Harris smiled. "Let me introduce you to a few people." Over the next few days, Amara met with a small group of people who wanted change. There was Mrs. Delgado, a teacher who worked with young people and believed in education for all. There was Mr. Lee, a retired lawyer who had seen the problems in the courts for many years. And there was a young woman named Sarah, a tech expert who could find hidden information with computers. Amara felt hope growing inside her. Each person brought something special. Mrs. Delgado could help teach people about their rights. Mr. Lee knew how to prepare strong legal cases. Sarah could find evidence that others missed. Together, they formed a plan. Amara would act as the attorney for Mr. Reed, the business owner with the unfair court decision. Mr. Lee would help her prepare the case. Sarah would search for evidence in court records and files. Mrs. Delgado would help spread the word in the community. Amara felt grateful. "Thank you all for believing in this. We can make a difference," Sarah smiled. "We will find the truth, no matter how well it is hidden." Amara and her new allies worked long hours. They met in small rooms, in libraries, and sometimes in parks. They shared ideas and strategies. The judge who had ruled against Mr. Reed had made many mistakes, they found. Some of his decisions ignored facts. Others seemed unfair. One evening, Sarah came with important news. "I found something," she said. "There are emails and messages that show the judge may have been influenced by people with power." Amara's eyes widened. "This is serious. We must use this carefully." "Mr. Lee nodded. "This evidence could change everything." Amara knew they had to be smart. The judge was powerful and would try to defend himself, but with proof, they could show the truth to the court and to the public. Meanwhile, the judge continued his work, unaware of the storm coming his way. He still remembered Amara as the young girl he had mocked. He thought she was no threat. That was his mistake. Amara and her team prepared to present their findings. They practiced how to speak clearly and strongly. Amara wanted to be ready for any challenge. One day, Mrs. Delgado spoke at a community meeting. She told the people about the importance of justice and fairness. "We must stand together," she said. "No one should be judged unfairly because of where they come from or who they are." The people listened. Some nodded with hope. Others promised to help. Amara felt their support like a warm light. Back at home, Amara's mother watched her daughter with pride. "You are fighting for many people, not just yourself," she said. Amara smiled. "Yes, Mama. I want a better future for all of us." The night before the big hearing, Amara sat quietly. She thought about everything she had learned and done. She felt nervous but ready. She knew this was more than just a case. It was a fight. For fairness, for respect, and for truth. Her phone beeped with a message from Jamal. "You are not alone. We believe in you." Amara replied, "Thank you. Tomorrow we make history." As she prepared to sleep, Amara whispered, "This is our time." The next day, the courtroom was full. People from the community came to watch. The judge saw Amara standing tall as an attorney. He was surprised but tried to stay calm. Amara began to speak. Her voice was clear and strong. She presented the evidence carefully. The emails and messages Sarah found showed the judge's unfair influence. The courtroom grew silent as the truth came out. The judge looked uncomfortable. He realized the young girl he once mocked was now the one holding the power. Amara's allies watched with hope. This day was just the start. But it was a sign that change was coming. The courtroom was full of people that day. There was a quiet buzz of conversation, but when Amara entered, everyone grew silent. She wore a simple suit, her hair pulled back neatly. Her eyes were focused and calm. This was her moment, the moment, to show that she was not just a young girl, but a true fighter for justice. The judge who had once mocked her sat at his bench, his face serious. He watched her carefully, still not fully believing she could stand before him as an attorney. But Amara did not let his doubt stop her. She walked confidently to the front and began to speak. "Your Honor, ladies and gentlemen," Amara said clearly, "we are here to show that justice must be fair. The law is not just words on paper. It is the protection for every person, no matter who they are or where they come from." She looked at the judge directly. "I present evidence that shows decisions in this court have been unfair and influenced by power, not truth." Amara's voice was steady as she explained the case of Mr. Reed, the business owner who lost his store because of an unfair court decision. She spoke about the emails and messages found by Sarah and the facts ignored by the judge. With each word, she made her case stronger. The judge's face tightened. He tried to interrupt, but Amara was ready. "Please allow me to finish, Your Honor," she said politely but firmly. The courtroom listened carefully as Amara showed proof that the judge had ignored important facts. She explained how the law was meant to protect fairness, not power. When she finished, she looked at the jury. "You have the responsibility to see the truth, to make a decision based on facts, not prejudice or influence." The room was silent for a moment. Then the lawyer for the other side stood up. She was calm and polite, but tried to defend the judge. "This court respects the decisions made by judges who work hard every day. The evidence presented is not enough to prove any wrongdoing." Amara nodded. "I understand, but the evidence is clear. We must be careful to protect justice from any form of unfairness." The judge then asked questions. He tried to challenge Amara's points, but she answered each question with confidence and respect. She stayed calm, even when the judge's tone became sharper. The jury watched closely. They could see Amara's intelligence and honesty. She spoke not just with words, but with passion for fairness. After many hours, the courtroom took a break. Amara stepped outside and took a deep breath. Her heart was pounding, but she felt proud. She had stood strong. Jamal was waiting for her. He smiled and said, "You did great, Amara. Everyone is talking about how smart and brave you are." Amara smiled back. "Thank you, Jamal. But this is just the start. We must keep fighting." The next day, the trial continued. More witnesses came forward, many with stories of unfair treatment in the court system. Amara listened carefully and questioned each one with kindness and respect. She showed that fairness was more than just a word. It was a right everyone deserved. The judge grew more serious. He could no longer ignore the truth. His old ways were being challenged, and the courtroom was changing. At the end of the day, Amara gave her final words. "Justice is for all. It is not about power or age or where you come from. It is about fairness and truth. Let us remember that as we make our decisions." The courtroom was quiet as the jury went to decide. Everyone waited. The tension was high. When the jury returned, their decision was clear. They ruled in favor of Mr. Reed. The judge's decision was reversed. The unfairness was corrected. Amara's heart filled with joy. She had done it. She had used her mind and courage to bring truth to light. The judge looked at Amara with new respect. He saw that she was not just a young girl, but a true defender of justice. After the trial, many people came to talk to Amara. They wanted to thank her and learn from her. She became a symbol of hope and fairness in her community. That night, Amara sat with her mother and Jamal. "Today was a victory," she said softly. "But there is still work to do." Her mother smiled proudly. "You have changed many lives, Amara. We are all proud of you." Amara looked at the stars outside her window. She knew the fight for justice was just beginning, but she was ready. Her journey was not over. It was a new beginning. The courtroom was quiet as the judge sat at his desk, staring at the papers before him. He had never faced a challenge like this before. A young girl, once mocked and underestimated, had shown him in the court the truth. The judge felt something, new unease and doubt. Days after the trial, the judge sat alone in his chambers. He thought about the evidence Amara had presented and the words she spoke with such confidence. He remembered how he had treated her, how he had looked down on her because of her age and background. Now, he saw clearly that he had been wrong. The judge's mind was heavy with questions. Was the system he believed in truly fair? Had he let bias cloud his judgment? He felt ashamed, but also ready to change. He knew this was his moment to learn and grow. Meanwhile, Amara continued her work. She met with her allies to plan their next steps. They wanted to build a better system, one where everyone was treated fairly. Amara hoped the judge's change of heart would help. One morning, the judge invited Amara to his office. She was surprised, but accepted the invitation. When she arrived, he stood and greeted her with a respectful nod. "Amara," he said softly, "you have opened my eyes. I see now that I have been unfair in the past. I want to help make things better." Amara looked at him carefully. She could see sincerity in his eyes. "Thank you, Your Honor. It means a lot." The judge continued, "I want to learn from you and work with you to improve the court. We must ensure that no one is judged by anything other than the truth." Amara smiled. "That is the justice we need." Together, they began to work on new ideas. The judge listened as Amara and her allies shared ways to make the court fairer and more open. They talked about education, transparency, and respect for all people. The judge started attending community meetings. He spoke honestly about his past mistakes and his hope for change. People began to trust him again. Amara's mother watched her daughter with pride. "You have made a difference not only in the court but also in the heart of the judge." Amara nodded. "Change is possible when we believe in fairness and truth." The community came together. People shared their stories and hopes. They saw that justice was not just about laws but about respect for every person. Amara felt grateful. She knew the road ahead was still long, but she believed in the power of change. One afternoon, Amara stood before a group of young students. She spoke about her journey and the importance of standing up for what is right. "Do not let anyone tell you who you are or what you can do," she said. "You have the power to change the world." The students listened with wide eyes. Amara saw in them the future she dreamed of, a future where fairness and justice would shine for all. That evening, as the sun set, Amara looked out of her window. The stars began to twinkle, a reminder of hope and new beginnings. She whispered, "We have come far, but our work is not done." Her heart was full of courage and peace. She knew she had made a difference, and she would keep fighting for a better tomorrow. The city was quiet early one morning. The sun rose slowly, casting a warm light on the streets and buildings. Amara stood at the entrance of the courthouse. Today was special. It was the day she would speak to the community about justice and hope. People gathered in the square. They came from different neighborhoods, different walks of life. Many remembered the trial that changed everything. They came to hear Amara, the young attorney who showed courage and truth could win. Amara looked Out at the crowd, she saw faces filled with hope and curiosity. She took a deep breath and began. "Thank you all for coming," she said. "We have been through hard times. We have seen unfairness and pain. But today, we stand together to build a better future." She spoke about the fight for justice, about how everyone deserved respect and fairness. She told stories of the people she met and the changes already happening in the court system. Her words were simple, but powerful. "Justice is not just a word," Amara said. "It is a promise that every person will be treated with dignity, no matter your age, your skin color, or where you come from." The crowd listened quietly. Some nodded. Others wiped tears from their eyes. Amara felt a strong connection to the people around her. She knew this was more than a speech. It was a movement. After she finished, many came forward to thank her. They wanted to help and learn. Amara smiled, knowing her journey was now part of something bigger. Back inside the courthouse, the judge who once mocked Amara watched from his office window. He smiled softly. He had changed. He now worked to make the court a place of fairness and respect. He believed in Amara and the future they could build together. Amara returned to her small office. She sat at her desk, thinking about how far she had come. From the day she was mocked to this moment of hope and change. Her phone rang. It was Jamal. "Amara, you are amazing. Everyone is talking about your speech." Amara laughed. "Thank you, Jamal. But this is only the beginning." She looked out the window again. The city was alive with possibility. Children played in the parks, neighbors talked on the streets, and people smiled with new hope. Amara knew the fight for justice would continue. There would be new challenges and hard days. But she was ready. She had her friends, her family, and a community that believed in fairness. She whispered to herself, "Together we will make the world better." That night, Amara wrote in her journal. She wrote about the lessons she learned, the battles she won, and the dreams she held. She wrote about the power of courage and truth. Her story was no longer just hers. It belonged to everyone who believed in justice. It was a story of hope, strength, and new beginnings. Amara closed her journal and looked at the stars. She smiled, knowing that tomorrow held endless possibilities. The future was bright.